Dear team, I'm sitting in my living room this afternoon very sad that I'm not at Oregon State right now cheering you all on. We wanted so much to host you for dinner last night and hear your stories of life at Kinney Gym, what brought you there, where you want to go after your schooling is complete. As we all know, that trip and the rest of the season has been written out of the story for now, and I just wanted you to know that I'm so sorry. If we had been able to host you in our home, I would have shared about the first few years of U of I women's gymnastics and some of the growing pains we encountered. Those of us who were on those teams at the U of I didn't walk into a well-oiled machine. We were a group of women who came mostly from in-state. I was able to recruit a couple other elite level friends from out of state to join me, but the rest didn't have much competitive experience. Writing the first chapter of Illini women's gymnastics included more than a few opportunities to find my voice and use my words. We arrived at the top of the stairs of Kinney Gym to broken equipment for the women and very limited resources. Addressing gender inequities and being marginalized by a male-dominated culture was a challenge, to say the least. But I think all of my teammates from those years would agree it was a narrative worth writing. We got to start something new, write our own chapter in the Illinois record books, forge friendships and sisters that remain to this day, and I don't think any of us regret that great privilege. Well, the events of this spring have reminded me of another part of my own story that also relates that you are all no doubt wrestling with now. In 1980, I was a member of the NBC sports broadcast team that was slated to cover the Moscow Olympics. I was hired in '77 after my sophomore year, and I actually at that time changed my major to history and journalism so I could hone my craft as a broadcast journalist and prepare for a career at NBC Sports beyond the 1980 Olympics. NBC was letting me do work beyond just calling gymnastics meets, and I had my professional career mapped out for years to come. If you know anything about ancient history, 9 months before the games were to take place, the United States announced we would be boycotting the event due to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. We did choose an Olympic team, but the athletes stayed home, and so did I. Sometimes the narrative flows just the way you always wanted it to read, and sometimes you hit bumps and confusing sentences and writer's block that can at times be paralyzing. And sometimes stories like the COVID-19 come from out of nowhere and become the pivot point for character development. It takes courage and ingenuity and faith and vision to let go of our way of telling the story and lean into plot twists and uncontrollable and unwanted editing of our story. Use the heartache of a season cut short and let it lead you to the stories of new life, expanded opportunities, and surprising redemption.